All right, here we are, music lovers. You got Bonafide Mike here on YouTube, and this is episode 10 of Just Two People Talking. And today I have the honor of speaking to Mr. Party himself, Vic Vega, the premier Rod Stewart doppelganger in the house.
This is a show.
All right, so here we go. And I guess without further ado, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Bonafide Mike. Known you many years.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for contacting me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well,
have a good time.
Well, let's go start at the beginning then. How did you develop an interest in music? Was it something you heard or something you saw that piqued your interest for music?
In music in general, that's a great question. Well, I guess my first introduction to music would have been through my father singing with the mariachis at the Mexican restaurants. I'm not even kidding, you know. I was all embarrassed with the mariachis at mi terras, singing Volver, Volver. But my first musical anything I listened to as a kid was like anybody else back then was like, you know, listening to the Disney albums, you know, Quack, 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 Donald Duck, all that kind of stuff. He's my favorite pal. But the first album, first time I ever started, I guess, showing my interest in wanting to learn more about, let's say, particular rock and roll, because I wasn't going to go the way of, you know, the Mexican music that my dad was listening to a lot. You know, my friends were listening to rock and roll in the 70s, and it really wasn't that prevalent. I mean, if you knew about it, you knew about it, you know. And this really came about through hanging out with people who had older brothers, for instance, that were taking them to concerts. And that's how, that was my introduction. So I wanted to be like my friends. And the very first album that I asked for, and I got it, because my mom went to Sears back in 1976. It was Black Sabbath, Paranoid. That was the very first album that I ever asked for.
Oh wow, that's a classic album.
Yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy, man. You know, I tell you what. And you know, I liked the song Iron Man. I was a kid, you know. Of course, I'm gonna like Iron Man. But then I was introduced to War Pigs and Hand of Doom and. Interesting album, man. I still love it to this date, and I still have it with the thick cardboard casing that it has, and it's all scratched up, you know, because I played it on my Mickey Mouse record player back then, and that's all I had. But after that, you know, I became a big Kiss fan, you know, because Kiss was huge back then. And you know, funny story, Kiss came to town, and I was 10 years old, and my mom wouldn't let me go see them. I begged her, please, Mom, let me go see Kiss. You know, they're coming to the Joe Freeman Coliseum. And she says, next time. No, how about next time? And this is a big family controversy because at that moment she says, listen, I've got tickets to go see Elvis Presley in the arena. You know, your aunt's got some. So let's go that instead. And I said, well, how about next time, Mom? And that should have been a beating that happened because I didn't go, and this was 1976, and of course Elvis, you know, left the building in 77, so I never saw Elvis, but I was punished in my own purgatory in future years in Vegas, hanging out with nothing but Elvi, so I regret it every day, but that was my introduction to music. Then I became an AC/DC fan. I was a fanatic of Bon Scott's and all that AC/DC era, you know, when they were dangerous. Even to the point where I was having my albums taken away from me in 8th grade class because it was just bad news. However, great story. All the girls brought Blondes Have More Fun to class. Yet teacher takes away my If You Want Blood, You Got It AC/DC live album. And I guess they never heard the worst of Dirty Weekend, did you? So, you know, it is what it is, you know. And I just became more of a music fan to the point where I was, you know, I couldn't wait for the next concert, you know. And back then in those days, there was a concert all the time. You know, I look at my old concert stubs, and they're all upstairs. $10, $10 to see, you know, Van Halen, you know, David Lee Roth, you know, that kind of stuff. I remember complaining. I still have this Rush T-shirt, but I remember complaining that the T-shirt for the Permanent Waves Tour Rush concert that I went to was $8.
Oh my God!
I'll never forget, $8. Are you crazy? I bought it, but still, and I still have it. You know, it's 45 years old.
It's an antique now.
Yeah, it's not gonna fit me. So, yeah, concert after concert. I just wanted to be involved in rock and roll and learn more about it, and you know, every aspect of it. You know, but mainly heavy rock. You know, I was into, you know, Judas Priest. I wasn't even into Metallica yet. I couldn't understand it, you know, because I was more into the metal that was more melodic, you know, like
the heavier stuff.
Yeah, Scorpions. I love the Scorpions back then, you know. UFO. UFO is one of my favorite bands. They still are.
Yeah, early Aerosmith.
Early, real good. The good Aerosmith, I call it, you know. All that was part of my upbringing and it formed my musical taste, you know. I mean, I was aware of Rod Stewart. I wasn't much of a follower, but I was fully aware of who he was. And, you know, that little incident in 8th grade made me really not like him when they took my album away. And the girls got to keep their blondes, have more fun, but that's okay. However, I was very fully aware of him. And true story, I tried to learn how to play guitar in 7th grade. It was an elective. Me and my little small hands. And the first song I ever wanted to learn was You're in My Heart.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it was on the radio all the time. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to learn that song. Little did I know, with all the major, the minor 7th chords and all that my little hand was not going to be able to handle those bar chords. So, I mean, I can play it now, but back then it made me give up guitar. But I remember going to Southern Music Company on Broadway, San Antonio, and buying the sheet music and thinking, this isn't cool.
Oh yeah, I went. Is that even still there anymore?
It's not there anymore. But I went to buy the sheet music for it, and I gave up, man. You know, and so I just started playing basketball and going to rock concerts and doing what you do at rock concerts. You know, whatever. Had a good time. I wasn't a huge Rod fan at all. Again, I was aware of him. The girls liked him. You know, I thought he was kind of strange. You know, I don't know if I liked the hair. I didn't like the tight pants. I didn't like a lot of stuff. You know, I associated him with that whole disco thing, which back in those days, you were either rock and roll or you were disco.
Mm-hmm.
And I was rock and roll, and anything disco was... Ugh. So when Do You Think I'm Sexy came out, it even classified Rod, as far as I was concerned, as even more somebody I did not care about. And it wasn't until I saw the video on this new thing called MTV back in 1981, when I saw the video for Tonight I'm Yours, with all the girls in the pool, and this Rod Stewart guy singing to all these bikini girls in their wet bathing suits. I changed my tune about Rod. I said, that's an interesting job. But I had no desire to do what I'm doing now. I mean, I was just listening to music, going to concerts, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry about the long answer, but you know.
No, that's fine. Just, you know, that's a great answer. So, but the other question I was going to ask you is, well, how many instruments do you play? You said you learned guitar, or do you play any other instruments?
No, I don't. I mean, guitar, I call it Cliff Notes leads. That's what I do.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I fake it very well, and people are like, man, you're great. But, you know, it's like Cheech and Chong only knows 3 chords. I only know 3 scales. I just go up and down with the same scales. But it sounds great. And I think a lot of my influences, again, UFO, all that stuff, I got to listen to people like Michael Schenker and how they just used 1 or 2 or 3 notes and made it sound wonderful. And I think I'm definitely not a shredder. There's so many people who would beg to differ whether I'm a guitar player or not. But
okay,
you know, but that's what that is my primary instrument. I mean, I didn't start singing using my voice as an instrument, so to speak, until later in life when I realized that maybe I should do something with this this lemon I have and turn it into lemonade.
Okay, well, that leads me to my next question is like, well, when did you realize you had a resemblance to Rod the Mod? Did somebody say, hey, you look like that Rod guy?
You know, I never realized it. It was realized for me. And much to my chagrin, it started off in college. And before then, I had dark hair. My hair's dark. This is a very expensive 3-color blonde do. But my first doppelganger type experience, I was called Steve Perry.
Oh, okay.
You know, because my hair was long, my hair was dark, and I got called that after a friend of mine, who I recently thanked 40 years later at our high school reunion. At the time, I wanted to fight him after school. I'll never forget this. We were going to get in a fight after school. He put gum in my hair.
Oh, man.
I was asleep in study hall, as you shouldn't be, but I was passed out on my desk, and I woke up, and I had all this gum in my hair.
Oh, no.
And he thought it was funny, and I couldn't get it out. And so we were going to get in a pretty serious fight after school, but I got broken up, our mutual friends. And I thanked him recently for kind of setting me in that path of this new hairstyle that I had, because what I did was I took scissors, being the dumbass that I was, thinking I was cool. I cut it out. And all of a sudden I had spikes all over my hair. And I thought, wow, my hair can look different now, because it was just so flat and fine, and I looked so stupid. I had the feathers and, Sean Cassidy bullshit hair. And
and now it's sticking up. Now you have that.
Now
You got that Johnny Thunders look.
Yeah, Johnny Thunders, and so that's how that happened. And all of a sudden I started getting called Steve Perry, which I hated, because at the time I couldn't stand Journey. Again, I was into Priest, Triumph, Rush, Journey. I just really couldn't stand them until one fateful night. And this is going to be, are there kids watching? There was one fateful night I went to a fraternity party at St. Mary's University after Oyster Bank. And this girl came up to me and says, you look like, yeah, I know, I look like Steve Perry. I felt like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber making those faces to the girl or whatever. Yeah, right. But I brushed it off, and she says, you don't understand. I'll never forget this night. You don't understand. I love Steve Perry. And I go, yeah, you love Steve Perry. Great. Gotcha. She goes, no, I love Steve Perry. And I stopped with my beer, and I went, okay. Let's go. And that's all it took. And then I became a Steve Perry fan after that. But so I wrote that for about a month or two. And I was in college at that time. I started college about 1983, 84, 85. I was taking guitar, classical guitar instruction. And I started getting called Ronnie Wood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And which I think that looked more like Ronnie than Rod. But with my hair, there's old pictures, and you would think, wow, that's Ronnie Wood. So, and me with the guitar, that didn't help. So, but the sorority girls, I had joined a fraternity. Yeah, believe it or not, somebody took me in. A group took me in, and I wrote it, man. I had a good time. However, the sorority girls kept calling me Rod Stewart, and I hated it. Oh, God, I would cringe. My hair was dark, and I remember, in retrospect, I'm thinking, damn, I could have more girlfriends in college, than I had, I can remember girls saying, I'll go out with you if you sing me Tonight's the Night.
Oh.
And I'd say, get out of here. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, get out. Beat it. God, if I would have been able to belt out Tonight's the Night, I would have had a really hot date that night. But I blew it off. I got so angry because I resented being called Rod. Mm-hmm. And
So I guess that's where it all began, huh?
Well, no, it carried on to a few years later. In 1990, I went to a fraternity party, a Halloween party, and I didn't know what to go as. And I was sitting there, and I was watching MTV. MTV still played music at that time,
Yes.
in 1990. And a video, wow, how fateful. A video came on when I was watching. It was Rod Stewart's My Heart Can't Tell You No.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Great song. And in that video, he's got his hair all jacked up, messed up, total Rod. He's wearing a white t-shirt, wearing those rainbow suspenders that were so big in the day.
Oh, no.
You know, and which I had a pair of. Some cool rock and roll shoes. I called them my Randy Rhoads shoes. They were cool. I had those. And torn jeans. I said, I've got all that. So I went to, I dared myself, and I went to Walgreens and I bought some of that, what do you call it, the gold hairspray. And I put it in my hair. I jacked up my hair. And I went as Rod Stewart to the Halloween party. And it was a good night.
I bet.
It was a real good night. And I thought to myself, man, I should have been doing this. There's something about this Rod Stewart guy, man. You know, in retrospect, I always tell people, had I had a Rod Stewart cassette in my car versus Ride the Lightning in my car, I would have had more girlfriends. But I didn't, and I learned it late. I learned it a little late in life, but you know, it is what it is. And that started off me doing it at every Halloween, and I would win Halloween contests, believe it or not, and I win money. One year I won a car.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually won a car one year, and it was at that time that a lookalike agent, booking agent, saw me and asked me if I wanted to be part of this group of lookalikes, impersonators, she says. And at that time, I had no idea of the concept of what an impersonator was. I was working with a band in San Antonio that, you know, all we did was play in different clubs. And I didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, okay. And I blew her off for 3 years. She would constantly call me. She was a Cher impersonator in San Antonio. And she called me and called me. And one day it just so happened that the band I was working with happened to have a gig the same night that they were booked to perform. The impersonators were booked to perform during the break of the show. So I got to see what they did. And I said, oh, this is what you're talking about. Okay. I still wasn't interested. I said, well, okay. I didn't know what, I really, it was a new concept. Impersonator, I didn't know what it was. Celebrity impersonator, lookalike, whatever. So it took her some more time, and she finally convinced me. And the first time I did it was at a nightclub called Rock Island. And I got really drunk, and I went to get my friends who worked at Glamour Shots to lend me some cool jackets or whatever. And I went out and I did my best mimicry of Rod Stewart. Granted, it was a lip sync, so they didn't even want me to sing. I was just lip syncing. And honestly, it was horrible. Man, I sucked. It was horrible. I would never hire that guy for a party. Don't ever do it. So I did it again the following year for a Halloween thing. And, you know, I was going to Rod Stewart concerts when he was coming to San Antonio back then, and people kept calling me Rod. And, you know, a much longer story short, there's so many more steps. But the next thing, you know, I ended up at a nightclub that was 70s and 80s, and they wanted me to do this show, so to speak, every weekend. So that's where I started honing in the visual act, you know, which was mimicking him even down to the way he looks at people. And I got it down pretty good. You know, I mean, where people are like, wow, it's like Rod's looking at me, you know, whatever. But I studied it, you know. I figured if I'm going to do this, you know, I want to do it well. I want to wear it well. As you say.
There you go.
You know, I want to wear it well. So, but at the time, I wasn't even really singing, you know. I didn't, because I didn't take it seriously. I was just a bartender at a nightclub that did this Rod Stewart thing. But then I got tired of working. I'm not going to lie. I got tired of working. And in 2008, I went to a lookalike convention. Those existed in Florida, in Orlando. And I saw the potential. And I said, I need to come home and I need to learn how to sing. okay, properly. Although I lied to the convention and told them I was doing this all the time, so I drove myself on stage for a 5 second showcase. I'm sorry, 5 minute showcase, singing some Rod Stewart songs, and I actually got booked by somebody because they liked what they saw, and I was sweating in my pants because I was nowhere close to the developed situation I am now. That was just the beginning, 2008. But I saw the potential, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go home and maybe try to work on the voice and work on the act. And again, much longer story shorter. In 2011, I ended up in Vegas, and after a few years there, I ended up in a show called Superstars on Stage, and my face was on billboards, it was on taxi cabs, it was everything. My face, it's very surreal. And I thought, wow, I actually made something out of this look. I turned lemons into lemonade, as I would say.
That's awesome, though. I mean, I guess it worked out.
It worked out because I'm still doing it. This is what I do for a living now, People look at me funny, but hey, there's a reason for everything,
All right. Well, here's an interesting topic, too. Since you know a lot about the club scenes, can you speak a little bit about the music and the club scene back in the old days here, like Rock Island, Sneakers? Yeah, I guess we could throw in Raw Dogs if you want. I don't know if that's considered a.
I got fired from Raw Dogs. It's funny. Raw Dogs was more of a lounge, but Rock Island and Sneakers were nightclubs that were very strong in the early '90s in San Antonio, late '80s, early '90s.
And Rockies too, right?
Rockies was. I'm going back now to '83. There was a Rockies. If you know San Antonio topography, if you know the maps, there was a Rockies nightclub that was pretty good on Austin Highway.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a very cool club. And there was a lot of great dance clubs. And I was a little, it was like Broad Street and all that stuff. I was a little too involved in what I was doing at school with the fraternity I was in. Believe it or not, I was social chairman. I was responsible for the parties.
Oh,
and
no.
I was also responsible for bringing live music to the University of Texas in San Antonio, the campus. I started kind of a nightclub on campus, which, I got a lot of thank yous for, and I got a lot of F yous for because people were failing out. But anyway, that led me to working with a band called The Secret, which... Yeah, and we're very big at the time in San Antonio, and because I had booked them at UTSA. So my experience really was in booking. That's where I got my start in the club business. But after working with The Secret, I got hired away by this club, Rock Island, that was a strong live music club and a strong dance club. And it was one of the bigger clubs in San Antonio in the early 90s. And I learned a lot. We booked a lot of shows. We booked Flock of Seagulls and Dee Snider, bands like that, and a lot of local bands. But I got my feet wet, and I got to learn about the club scene, which is your question. I kind of miss those days. I think a lot of people do, because back then you went out to listen to live music, to dance, and have a good time. People dressed well. People respected each other. I don't want to get too much into that, but it was a different time, a different appreciation of what was going on. Today is a little bit. I don't want to necessarily comment on what I consider the club scene nowadays in the United States, but it's a different animal. It's a different genre. It's a different sort of person that goes out clubbing.
I'm sure. You said you booked a lot of shows, though. Did you ever book? Was it Michael Morales' Max around at that time?
Well,
they had other bands like Lung Overcoat. There was a bunch of these bands around.
Yeah. Rock Island booked The Secret a lot. They booked not Michael and the Max, because by that time Michael Morales had ventured off and sold off the name of the Max. But we did book the Max a lot. Okay, it was still his business, but he wasn't part of it. We booked bands like Eye to Eye, Passing Strangers.
Oh yeah,
a lot, back in those days, and bands like that toured, like The Hunger, Information Society, Missing Persons, Book of Love, all those fun. Those were fun bands, and yeah, we booked them, and that was, like I said, that was a different time, with different music appreciation. People would come out to dance and have a great time, and unfortunately, I don't, like I said, I don't want to get into it, but I just don't think kids know how to behave anymore. They don't know how to behave at nightclubs or anything anymore.
It's a different world.
It's a different world, and it's safer for me to be on stage looking at people that are somewhat my age performing tunes than to be out in the audience wondering whether I'm going to get, jumped or shot. I don't go to these clubs anymore. It's an interesting question and an interesting subject for me, but I'm happy that I was part of it.
Okay. So how long after that did you move to Las Vegas? Or do you have? Can you talk a little bit about what the scene was like over there when you went to Vegas? Like what you were doing at that time, like those clubs, the shows that you started doing over there?
Yeah. I moved to Las Vegas in 2011. At that time, I believe Las Vegas was, and forgive me for saying this, Las Vegas, but it was already starting its decline. Okay, and I heard many times from many people who had grown up there, residents, that we really liked it when the real mob ran Vegas, not the corporate mob.
Oh,
okay, and I don't know how many times I heard that, but there's a lot to be said about that, because there was a time when you went to Vegas and everybody dressed up nicely. They went to shows. Hey, you went and you got a great buffet in the middle of the night. Great breakfast for 99 cents, not $99. Okay, and that's true. When it became a cattle call, it became something else. However, to answer your question, I was blown away by a couple of things in Vegas. One of the clubs just closed. It was called Vamped. I thought it was such a cool scene. It was a bunch of rock and rollers, some that I had heard of, some that were famous, that would go to this club. So I was amongst that scene. I'd be hanging out with the singer of LA Guns, or I'd be the singer of the Quiet Riot, or the guitar player for whatever, man. And it was cool because that was who you mingled with over there, and everybody was cool, So I was blessed, man. I got to hang out at that. It was a special time when rock and roll was really trying to get strong in Vegas, and I got to meet some great people, and I got to form a band. I mean, my bass player, we joke about it, but my bass player was the bass player for Cher's very first band.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, he was a bass player for Rob Halford on his solo thing, and he played with Vince Neil and Louis Prima Jr. So I was like, man, what are you doing playing with me, dude? My drummer was the drummer for Missing Persons, which is not a good, it's not an easy act to follow. Who's going to follow Terry Bozzio? This guy was that good. So that's who I was starting to associate with, and so I got really lucky, man. I mean, I played with I jammed out with the dude from The Cult, man, I still keep in contact with him, he would play drums, Les Warner, So, I mean, I'm very lucky to have experienced the nightclub scene in Vegas, because it was pretty cool. I mean, I was watching Steel Panther every Friday night.
Oh, wow. I have not seen them.
House of Blues.
I would love to see them. I haven't seen them yet.
And that's how we became known to each other. It's a crazy story, but it's in total Steel Panther fashion. They made fun of me from stage and dared me to come up on stage. It's a lot longer than I'm telling you, but they dared me to come on stage, and dare I say, I set the situation straight to where they're not gonna ever call Vic on stage again and make fun of him on stage ever again.
Oh no.
It was cool. Everybody else to get away with it. It didn't happen with me. And next time they saw me, they pulled me on stage politely. Hey man, there's Vic Vega and Rod Stewart, dude. Come up on stage, dude. And so there's a couple of videos of me doing Maggie May with them. It's kind of funny to watch.
Oh wow.
Steel Panther doing Maggie May.
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, I have it. I'll share with you. But that's how it was. I mean, you bounced from club to club. If you found live music, live rock and roll, there was also Fremont Street where there was also rock and roll clubs, and there was also bands playing all the time. Yeah, it was a fun experience, you know. I mean, I wish that, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been to Vegas in a while. I left it after a few years, but I don't. You know that nightclub Vamp, like I was talking about, just closed down. It was like an institution in Vegas. Every rock and roller went there, and it was just amazing. But yeah, you know, I guess every good thing must come to an end. You know.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that Rod Guy show, the one you're doing currently. Because what's the best part of doing this show? Like, can you describe what the show is? What this show involves? Like, what is the fan in? What are they in for?
Well, first off, let's talk about that Rod Guy. That Rod Guy, and that's how you find me. I'll talk about it at the end. ThatRodGuy.com. That Rod Guy, all one word. ThatRodGuy.com. And that came about in Vegas because nobody was remembering my name. Okay, I met a lot of drunk people on the strip. I met a lot of drunk people after shows. And they're not going to remember Vic, Rick, Mick. They're not going to remember. But they might remember That Rod Guy. Oh, yeah, That Rod Guy. ThatRodGuy.com. So that's how that came about. As far as the show is concerned, I would say if you're going to do something, do your best at it. And do what makes you comfortable. I mean, I get called all sorts of names, man. I've been called Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore?
Dudley with eyes. I've been called Ronnie Wood. I've been called Barry Manilow. You know, I've been called a lot of stuff. But the one thing that stuck is the Rod Stewart thing, because I guess more people see that. And it's just an image thing, you know? I mean, by that I mean people see what they want to see. Okay, and you can't. It's hard to convince people that they're not seeing what they think they're seeing. And this tribute show, and I still feel this about all tributes, not just me. Tributes, true tributes. I'm not talking about. This is going to be touchy to one right here, but I'm not talking about bands that say, "Hey, we're so tribute," and you're just a bunch of dudes that just look like you just finished working at Walmart, but we play the music of this dude, but we're a tribute show. No, I can't stand that, because what it does is it demeans the work that many people like ourselves have done to put together a true tribute show, which is first and foremost to bring back memories. Okay, my job it's called Forever Mod or whatever, That Rod Guy. My job that night is not only to come out looking like a younger Rod, and I emphasize younger, a younger retro Rod, not only from whatever, the hair and the look and the dress and the mannerisms, because all that is intact. If you went to see Rod in his early days, it's all going to happen. It's a good mimicry. But it's also to deliver the songs that remind you of Rod, okay? When he was Rod the Mod. And that's my saying. We go back and we do the songs from when Rod was Mod. Not Rod Sinatra, not Rod Swing, not Rod Karaoke, Rod the Mod Stewart. Early 70s. We don't do anything past 93, okay? Because it's a retro show. And with that comes that energy. The band is rock and roll because I'm rock and roll. You heard who I grew up with. And I like to say that some of my personality, my real personality, comes out of that performance. Yeah, it's going to look like Rod. You're going to hear the songs. You might hear some songs that you weren't expecting. It's not just Forever Young and Do You Think I'm Sexy. You know, there's songs that I actually like that Rod will never do, or rarely, even though you pay $250 to see him at the Coliseum, he won't do them. Okay? We do the songs, I'd like to say, from the day when ladies, now ladies, but back then, young teenage girls had posters of Rod on their walls. Those are the songs we do. Okay, and that's the energy we do. A good tribute does all that. You look, you sound, you mimic, and most important, you bring back memories, okay, from what you remember of this particular artist, okay? And if you wear it well, you'll do a good job of it, okay? I love seeing a great Elvis impersonator. Wow. Man, I'm watching Ed Sullivan, Jesus Christ, man. Or I'm watching, the Hawaii special. I love watching a great, Michael Jackson. My God.
Yeah.
The guy's got it down, okay? It's not just somebody just out there being a cover band, for that matter, I could be a Pink Floyd tribute if I wanted to. I could just say, hey, I love Pink Floyd, let's go, we'll be our Pink Floyd tribute.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misuse of the word tribute. But that Rod guy and what you expect, that's what you're going to get from this show, And what makes me happiest after a show is not when the ladies tell me, oh God, we really love that, because that happens a lot. What makes me happy is when a dude comes up and says, dude, that was amazing, okay? Because then I know I've done my job to bring back memories. I didn't just bring back all the fantasies girls had. I bring back audible memories for guys that said, you know what? Maggie May, the first time, I was listening to Maggie May. Forever Young was my prom song. And man, I had a great night. Thanks for bringing back that memory. Dude, you rock. That's important to me. Or to hear somebody from Scotland say, I saw Rot in the Faces in 71, and I didn't think anybody could bring back that energy on stage, and you did it. And my God, I feel so young again. That's important to me. It's better than I don't know. It just makes me feel like we did a good job, guys. The band is fantastic. Because of them, I'm able to do the tomfoolery and nonsense I do on stage.
Oh, that's awesome. So now, is there a song? Is there a Rod Stewart song that you want to do, but it's not in the set list, but it's a song that you would like to do?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of songs that Rod has done that for various reasons I don't. One of the reasons could be that I only have an hour and a half time slot, so I better get nothing but hits. Or out there in the audience, you have people just yelling, Maggie May, do you think I'm sexy? They don't want to hear any of these songs. Okay, I call them, the fair weather fans. But there are some Faces songs that I would like to do. I mean, some of the Rod solo songs, like, for instance, and we've done it once. I love the song True Blue from 1972. It's a killer song. I love Faces song, You Can Make Me Dance, You Can Make Me Sing. It's such a great song, such a groove.
Yeah, that's an awesome song.
And if I know the band played it, the audience would be like, that's pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
What song was that? And I know the band would play it very well. It's just a matter of me delivering it.
Right.
And there's some songs that, I'm going to be honest with you, that I don't do because I don't feel that I would do them justice. And I'm just being very, I don't know if I'm being humble there, but, there's certain, Rod Stewart now can't do what Rod Stewart did back then. He was something else. And there's some of those songs, like, wow, unless I change something about how we deliver it, I'd rather not deliver it because I want to do it justice.
Like if you threw in a cover of that Sunny,
Sonny,
or Baby Jane.
Well, we do Baby Jane. We do Baby Jane. You know, those songs I love. We go back to Jeff Beck, man. We do Ain't Superstitious.
Or that You're Insane groove.
Yeah, you know, I would love to do that. Those are all favorite songs of mine. But I figure sometimes people don't understand or they don't listen. They only listen to the hits on side A, right? But I mean, I think we touch. I mean, we do. I Was Only Joking, you know, for Christ's sakes. We did The Killing of Georgie. You don't expect that from a rock tribute. You just expect Hot Legs and all that, which we do and we deliver.
Young Turks and
we do Young Turks. You know, You're in My Heart, Tonight's the Night. We do all that stuff. Everything that's a hit. But I like to throw in some rock and roll. And sometimes the band is 100% live. I'm gonna tell you, there's no.
Who's all in the band anyway? How many
now?
How many people do you have in your live band?
It depends on the budget. My skeleton band is a 6-piece, including myself. I have Stephanie Pedraza, who is also my bride, my lovely wife. She's on rhythm guitar, amazing vocals. She gets a chance to sing a couple songs and wow the audience. You know, we'll bust into a Donna Summer song, you know, while I'm out changing my clothes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We venture and we around the genre and the time era. I have on bass in San Antonio. I have somebody named Tim Dugan, who's music director, I call him, but who's been instrumental in helping the sound of this band. Because Lazy Me will tell you that key's an A. Tim will say, yeah, that key's an A, but you're not going to miss this beat and this hit and that and that. And wow, I never listened to this song that way. Thank you, Tim. I have George Hamilton on drums, who used to be a DJ on a radio station here, 99.5 KISS. George Hamilton's the drummer of the band. I have different keyboardists all the time. Right now, my keyboardist is somebody out of Illinois named Stacy Crecci, which he's phenomenal, great guy. And on guitar, I've had him forever. Brance Arnold, who's in different bands around town as well. But, I mean, he's fantastic. I've had him for many years. Now, budget-wise, if there's a budget, I bring in a sax player I always use named Billy Ray Shepherd, phenomenal. And if the budget's really there, I bring in my girl from Las Vegas on violin, Marlo Zamardis, who's just amazing. But, you know, it all depends on budget. But that's who the core band is. And it's, like I said, it's 100% live. There's no fake anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now I know that you perform outside of San Antonio. So can you kind of talk a little bit about some of the best places that you played in other cities that you played that have been not here in Texas?
Not here in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I wouldn't be answering that fairly if I didn't talk about Tomball, Texas, Main Street Crossing, which is one of our favorite venues, period. Oh my God, everybody plays there. And if you play there, I think you've made it. And we've played there a few times.
Oh, yeah, I think we talked about that. Yeah. I know that the Cowsills are coming there in December.
Yeah, it's a place that has live music every day, and we do very well there, and the audience is amazing. Music lovers, it's a listening room. You can get dinner. You pay for a dinner and a show, and I mean, we're playing one night, and the next night, Crystal Gales play. You know, that kind of thing. That's one of my favorite venues. We just finished playing a venue in Lafayette, Colorado, Denver, called Nisi's, an amazing venue. We just happened last week. Huge. You know, like I said, I've had fun with some of the stuff I've done in Vegas. You know, but interestingly enough, I wouldn't say some of the places in Vegas are my favorite places to play. I'd rather play in different areas. I mean, we've played, we got some shows coming up, which I'm sure are going to be great in Florida coming up, at a great venue in Cape Coral, Florida. That's coming up. We do a lot of Texas shows. We don't do a lot of San Antonio shows. We did something in New Mexico recently that was just, oh man, it was amazing. It's a country club. We do a lot of stuff like that. We don't just do theaters or let's say rock and roll venues. we get booked for country clubs because I guess that's the genre that fits. Rod Stewart, you know, and you know, we wake them up like Rodney Dangerfield does in Caddyshack. Though we do wake them up.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, it's my point. But I mean, I have a show coming up. You know, knock on wood, I'm gonna hear about it today. Actually, you know, hopefully coming up in Beverly Hills, coming up in October. See if that happens. But we've played some pretty cool venues and pretty. I myself have traveled a lot more than this band, and I've traveled as a the portable front man, so to speak. When there's been bands set in place waiting for me to show. So I've done big theaters all over Canada. You know, Westminster, Lloydminster, I'm sorry. You know, places like that. Olds, you know, in Alberta, Saskatchewan. You know, those have been fun. Those are fun situations. Big festivals. I mean, I did something in San Antonio recently, about 5 years ago, called the Oyster Bake.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was cool. I got to open the show for Lou Graham from Foreigner. It was supposed to be the Bangles, but Susanna, oh my God, I would like to meet you, but you wanted too much money. So we didn't do the Bangles. We did Lou Graham from Foreigner. But that was still very cool experience. But
that's awesome. I mean, you've covered quite a. Another one. This is a little off topic, a little bit. Can you speak a little bit about the Chica and the Man shows?
Chica and the Man, huh?
I know that's another.
It's a whole other act. Chica and the Man is an act that involves that's comprised of me, myself, and Steph, my lovely bride. And that's just an acoustic duo, and we do everything from Shania Twain to Rod Stewart to some originals that she's written, and that's taken off. All right, you know, I mean, we play wineries, we play happy hour places, and it's a lot of fun. You know, I get to play guitar most of the time. You know, well, that's all I do. I play guitar, I sing some songs with. She's mainly the lead vocalist, and she does her amazing guitar work as well. But, oh yeah, that's a fun act. That's really what keeps us going, you know, believe it or not. I don't do a lot of the Rod shows because I'm pretty selective where I want to play. I mean, I have and part of that reason is because some of my guys actually have real jobs. So it makes it hard for me to schedule. You know, I can't be like these Rolling Stones dudes where, you know, they're on the road 50 shows, 75 shows a year on the road consistently. You know, I'm not 21 anymore, man. I know I sing Forever Young, but in the morning I feel my true age sometimes, and but it's because I'm jumping around like a 25-year-old Rod Stewart fiend. But Chica and the Man, yeah, you know, hopefully soon we can get an interview with Chica and the Man, or maybe just Chica, Stephanie Pedraza. You know,
I think we can make that happen.
She's an entity on her own.
I've heard.
Chica and the Man is like a modern day Sonny and Cher.
Oh, there you go.
Know, I mean, it's a lot of comedy. She does all the vocal talent, and I do all the silly David Lee Roth commentary. And I guess it mixes very well. You know, it's a great dynamic on stage. You get a chance to see Chica and Da. It's D-A, not T-H-E. D-A. Chica and Da Man.
There you go.
You know, you'll find us.
All right. Okay. Well, so in closing, what is the best way that people can keep up with your appearances, shows, if you have any merch available?
I have a spotlight that you look up in the sky. No, I'm just kidding. Like Batman, right?
There you go.
No, the best way is through That Rod Guy. All one word, That Rod, R1D, THATRODGUY. ThatRodGuy.com. I can't promise that I'll keep it up to date because I'm lazy with the website. However, that will tell you, it has a calendar on there and it tells you where we're going to be, where I'm going to be. We're adding a merch page because we have some cool t-shirts, stuff like that. But it gives you an idea of how all this started. And yeah, man, it's pretty cool. You know, whenever we keep it up, it's really cool. You know, let's just be honest. You know, I mean, I'm the one that's behind all this, and If I forget about my website, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
I'm old.
well, thank you for taking some time and talking to us and letting us know all about your life and all about the music you've done and all the shows and all these great, great stories. They're so funny.
No, I couldn't tell you the stories really because they're stories, man. I can't,
Okay.
just keep it cool.
So before we end this, can you throw us a couple of bars of Maggie May here?
Oh no, I'm hoarse enough to do it from this interview. I don't know. Wake up, Maggie. I think I've got something to say to you. There you go.
All right.
It's late September when I really should be back at school. There we go. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you, Vic, and we're out. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
hope I was looking in the right spot.
Yes, sir. All right, and bye-bye.
Thank you.